is allegedly, right? Mars Day, Tuesday, right? 10th February 2026. And we are here today to enjoy, right? Have a great time, even though it's serious matters that bring us here for our Newbie Tuesday, formerly known as, but still in the spirit, Bible study, right? Because these are just basic instructions while living on what's called Earth, so to speak. So we're making sure that we are priming our minds to allow ourselves to relieve ourselves of the guru abuse syndrome and begin embracing a procedural mindset and approach to relieving ourselves of the people that may be trying to do things in court venues that make our lives a little worse, right? So today we're going to be going over any Newbie Tuesday questions that you have, right? So get your hands up, right? Let's treat this like a concert. Just throw your hands in the air and raise them like you just don't care, all right? And ask your newbie question. I will say it is 4 days, right, from what most people will fiscally enjoy as a quote unquote Valentine's Day. But if you're here today and you're at Lawful Living, it's the greatest love of all, right? Not Whitney Houston song, but to love yourself, to be here, to be able to allow yourself to augment the way you see your reality through the lens of jurisprudence and exercising that jurisprudence in your mind so that you can be able to assist not only yourself, first and foremost, however, also your loved ones, right? So let's get those mics unmuted. Let's ask those questions. Let's raise those hands. Maybe not necessarily in the order that I just enumerated it, but what's going on with you guys? What's on your minds? Don't all rush at once. Slow down.
Well, one, it's snack time for me, so forgive me if y'all hear me chewing too. But I just put the
Snack.
links for the Newbie Tuesday doc in the chat,
Yay!
including the new neutralized street cop training.
Indeed. So community inspired. Go ahead, sis. But I guess it is snack time. Okay, so since if you're new here to lawful living, one of the colloquial terms here, right, that is inspired by what I, Malika, and those of us who really are sharing information here, it was said by our beloved friend-in-law, brother friend-in-law, Marcel. He said, "Man, when I know the snacks out and y'all eating, it's about to get good. That's when y'all always dropping them gems. So always feel free to, let your hair down and snack.
That is
Yeah,
so terrible because that's the only reason I'm not on mic right now. And I can't believe everybody else is eating. Put a one in the chat if you're eating.
please put a one in the chat because I am so about to be there with you guys. I literally forced myself to stop eating sunflower seeds, and I'm preventing myself from eating these walnuts and medjool dates right now. Just so that's why I'm trying to be like, everybody, raise your hand, start talking. That's me looking for a catalyst to go and eat right now.
Shout out to Darlene for sending us 3+ pounds of pecans. I have to take them away from my man slave. I think I'm about to hide them from him.
Wow.
When I took the bags yesterday, he goes, "What's your problem?"
She's a hater.
You hear him?
I'm so glad you loving them, girl. They coming falling right out our trees. We still getting them coming down. It's
Feel
crazy.
free to send more. I don't mind covering shipping. Just love knowing that I'm able to share in the snacks from my friends in law.
Wow.
You're welcome, lady.
Don't be a pecan hater, Malika. Let me stop. My bro had pecan. No, I'm joking. I
Did
know
you
how
hear
that
him
is.
yell in the background? She's a hater.
Yeah,
Did y'all
yeah, I
hear
heard
him?
him. Yeah. Hey, I ain't gonna front. Like, I'm here with Lotus. I'm like, babe, I'm sorry. I just ate a whole bag of walnuts. You gotta order some more.
No, that is so unfair. Hide them, girl. Do you hear me? Snatch them right out of his hand.
Malika said, hide the
Gotta
walnuts.
ration them out. Everybody gets a bag. You eat your share. You're out of luck.
Yeah, so she orders like at least 4 bags now because I go hard on the walnuts and bananas.
Same. Except I gotta crack mine.
Yeah. Hey, look, we're gonna get to that level real soon,
So let's
guys.
hear it, guys. Let's hear it. Because one of the things that we just brought up for us to discuss is this lingering label of being a sovereign citizen. And we started talking about it yesterday. And it's
Word.
an important topic to bring up even for today, even in this forum, just so we can weed out the ideas and the types of articulation and the framing that gets most people mislabeled or labeled as. I shouldn't even say mislabeled, because put a 1 in the chat if you have gotten an attorney to actually say what their meaning when they say sovereign citizen, either inside the body of a document or as a footnote. Put a 1 in the chat if you've actually gotten the explanation. Let's see it.
Just having trouble remembering which file it's in.
I gotta review every single consultation, and you gotta do the same, and then we gotta see who said what.
You guys
Word.
still haven't found it yet?
Still have
No.
not found it. Could you believe it?
Damn, dude, that's the worst.
But
Whenever
we
you're just
found other
looking
ones,
and
which is
looking and looking.
important. So who in the chat that just put a 1 where the attorney actually explained? And you can pull up your screen too, Hassan, if it's not covered in food.
Yeah, well, matter of fact, I'm gonna see if it's in our
Let's
friend-in-law
read what
in
they are
Maryland.
saying is a sovereign citizen,
I
because
mean, go check.
the response that people are having, that they think they have to explain what a sovereign is and what a citizen is and etymology, and then explain how that's an oxymoron, is an exercise in futility. It's totally irrelevant, the
The judge
alternative
don't care.
definition that we might want to share with them. Repeat that.
Said because the judge don't care the shit about that stuff.
Not that the judge doesn't care, but it's irrelevant.
Exactly.
It's irrelevant what you are saying the definition of sovereign citizen is. The only thing that's important is what they are saying, so that you can, if you want to say, attack that. You want to focus on what they are saying and not what you believe they should be saying, so you get perceived as a sane person and not as an insane person. Okay, more to come. Says 3 attorneys said it but never explained it. So now we have attorneys that are putting it in footnotes. So if somebody who put up a 1 can share the definition, yep. Well, let's see. Did they tell you the definition? Because they're telling you the definition. They either have told many people the definition, or you can ask them for the definition. They will tell you what they are saying, so it's not left to guess. So if someone can pull it up, if you've gotten it written down somewhere inside of a document where they define what their definition of sovereign citizen is, give everybody a chance to pull it up. Let's talk about it.
And then they should give you the source for their definition too, right?
No, the source doesn't matter. Only what they are saying matters. Because, for example, if they say a definition of a sovereign citizen is somebody who disregards the law, it doesn't matter where the definition is coming from. They're accusing you of disregarding the law. Is that true? Based on what you are saying? If you guys
No,
don't
it's not
understand the
true.
difference, let me know and I will further explain.
Makes sense to me. I was having a conversation with my bot about that exact thing, I think like last night, and how it's about the wording, because how do I say it? I'm trying to figure out how to say it, so I'll come back when I figure out how to better articulate it, how I'm trying to say it.
I had a cop say it to me a couple of weeks back, asked me if I was one. And I believe their interpretation, like Malika said, is that we believe we're above the law.
That's
What
one of
does
the things they say. They believe they're above the law, and it
what does
doesn't
that
matter where the
even mean?
definition actually comes from. It matters if that's how you are coming off, if that's how you are appearing, if that's how you are articulating, which is not the message at all that you want to demonstrate to someone or people or a society that is about law enforcement. It is not about anyone being above the law.
What
It's
does that
about
People
even
who
following
mean?
believe
the
they're not
law.
subject to government authority, courts, or laws, even while living in the United States. They usually claim they opt out of laws by using special language, documents, or legal theories.
Right. Is that what we're coming across as? Because when I asked people, "Well, are you a sovereign citizen?" a bunch of people said no. But when they look at their writing, or rather,
What's the record reflect?
when they look at, yeah, right, what does the record reflect? Are you saying things that show or claim or insinuate?
Well, they say when you use names like straw man, private man,
Correct.
surety, and stuff like that, flesh
Yep.
and blood,
Fresh and blood and all that stuff.
And
living
my
And
soul.
it's not so much the claim to be a private man in general. It's when it's combined with the claim that statutes and codes don't apply to flesh, blood, and bone, and I'm exempt because I'm alive.
Yeah, so the what you just said, it was saying that they already know that we are private individuals. So us going in there and telling them that we're private is there's no point in telling them that because they only argue on procedure. Their jurisdiction is
Hmm.
only on procedure and whether or not the general applicability applies to us. Because they try to use general applicability, at least the state uses the general applicability of traffic and stuff like that, traffic and stuff like that. And then our job is to not argue what they're not argue that, but rather did they follow the procedure to what they're trying to say applies to us. You could.
Exactly. So these arguments that say, "Oh, well, what law says that, or where's the source of your," that's just a ridiculous thing. Now, if you want to request that they point specifically to a sentence or a group of sentences that you may have written to say, this is what demonstrates that you believe or seem to believe that you are above the law and that the laws don't apply to you generally, or exactly what I said, it doesn't apply to you because you're living flesh, blood, and bone and all that stupid crap.
I think that the hypochondriacs, which I'm describing the literary stylings of the attorneys, to contribute to that. And that's why I brought this on the screen. One of the motions to dismiss, if I say so myself, I just ripped to shreds or whatever that I shared last Friday. But this is a part of it. And if you notice, and I want you to pay real close attention, if you can put your emotions to the side and really read what spirit this attorney is in as he's saying what he's saying. I want to see what you guys pick up on. Okay, who wants to read this argument part?
I'll do it.
As
Go ahead.
as a preliminary matter, the complainant and exhibits thereto contain many of hallmarks of tactics deployed by pro se plaintiffs to avoid contractual obligations. For example,
Stop right there. Stop right there.
okay.
Stop right there. What did he just say?
Contractual
Avoid contractual
obligation.
obligations
No, that read the sentence
by
again.
pro se plaintiffs.
Avoid.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Now, what is that sentence also saying?
It's implying that we're in contract with them.
which means
And
they
we
should be able to bring what before the court to prove so.
Documentary
the
Evidence,
evidence.
record.
Oh, okay.
admissible evidence.
So again, I want y'all to pay attention to what they say and the way they say it because they're just slurring with no proof. Continue. Next sentence.
For example, plaintiff makes numerous references to unverified or improper instruments and purported failures to validate the mortgage loan. These are recognized debts. These are recognized debts avoidance tactics used by pro se plaintiffs. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Which are universally rejected by courts. And they
These
got
are
this
these are what now? These are what?
Universally
avoidance tactics
rejected.
Debt avoidance tactics.
universally rejected by courts.
According to who's thinking.
Is
Those liars.
You see what I'm saying? Do we feel a little 3.3-ish going on here as far as a little bit of how
Yes.
their candor? And the only reason I'm saying that is because we could bring up the actual complaint, right? And be like, well, maybe the complaint is speaking like that. However, this is one where I made sure that all we were really focusing on was the chain of title.
Right. But this, we have to also show the opposite, where people are pleading sovereign citizen stuff and they don't even know it.
Correct.
Because
That is
yes,
correct.
we are all aware that they will just use that phrase often as just a blanket. But also, okay, we have to re-examine what we wrote to see if we can show that they're making a straw man argument and recasting what we're saying.
Correct.
But this is Newbie Tuesday, and the problem is you probably are saying sovereign citizen stuff. So it's actually a little more important. So to know what is triggering this label. Is it something where they're just hoping it's like, okay, it's powerful and we're just going to say sovereign citizen because it's our Hail Mary?
Correct.
Like in
That's what
this
I
case?
think this one
Clear
is.
conduct.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I think
So
it's
it's
the
Because
important to show
philosophical
both examples.
language.
Philosophical
Most of them, the
language.
conduct is acting like one.
Placing statutes with ideology,
There you
heck, in
go.
my
rejecting jurisdiction.
situation, they just looked at my private plate. They
Right.
pulled me over. I didn't have to say anything.
Right. Right.
They,
Because in
they,
their
and yeah,
interpretation, and I'm going to show you guys a a, a what do they call it? An affidavit of the policy officer that pulled
Mm-hmm.
somebody over, where they're saying that they observed the private plates and they're according to their training that sovereign citizen stuff like N-word. We put it in the bot, and the bot was like, that's not probable cause.
Correct.
And that's how you have to attack it.
exactly,
You have to
exactly,
attack it procedurally. It's not probable cause. You can't just glance
exactly.
over at a car and be like, oh, that's a sovereign citizen because of how their plates look.
If
Or
that's the case, that means if I have on a yarmulke or a cross or a kufi or a fez, then that means I'm going to be subject to abuses also because
Yeah,
I'm
because
wearing
according to
something.
my training, you're just displaying that to try to intimidate me from not talking to you. Know what I mean? And I fear for my life. Pow, 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 pow.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I see this kind of a similar um, task is to as it is when we are applying it to like the word person or a defendant or a non-custodial parent or whatever it is. You're I mean it's really the same task at hand, right? It's to say,
Not necessarily, because with those things are actually in the statutes, which the word sovereign citizen is not. So
right.
again, it's not about in that case when you're being recasted as someone who is just a belligerent, you have to actually comprehend what they're attempting to say.
Yeah. Okay.
So when it's person and custodian parent and all that, and it's in the statute, that's on a whole different level. And so there's some people who are saying, oh, well, they just call us a sovereign citizen when we assert any of our rights. That's not necessarily true. Again, because you have to look at what they are meaning. They never say, especially when they show you the definition. And if somebody else has a definition of sovereign citizen in a body of a document, let's see it. Or if you can scroll to where it might have it in here, Hassan, if it's in this document,
Well,
we need to actually see it, because they don't mean anyone standing up for their rights, at least not in their definition. They don't say a sovereign citizen is anyone who stands up for their rights. A sovereign citizen is anyone who challenges that. They don't say that in their definition when they provide the definition. You ready?
Yeah, they just treat you like it.
Sunny has one in the chat.
Okay,
definition.
Let's look at it, because this is where people are again, like just skimming over it when we need to be paying attention. When they're not, we interpret it as, oh, I'm just asserting my rights, and they're saying I'm a sovereign citizen. That's not how they define it.
I was pointing out in that document that guy was like, yeah, this is whatever. It was some sovereign citizen theories was rejected. Even though plaintiff does not call himself a sovereign citizen, I'm still going to say some ad hominem shit and hope that I can allow the court to do things in my favor.
As you may have heard on Rev's recording, what they're pointing out is that what they would otherwise call a sovereign citizen, and perhaps in the past people were pounding their chest and proudly saying that they're sovereign citizen. Now they're saying the same stupid shit, but disclaiming that they are sovereign citizens. Have you guys heard that?
The alternative language they're using now is pseudo legal theory.
Or they actually say they are disclaiming being sovereign citizens, even though they're saying the same sovereign citizen bullshit. It's very important that we comprehend that. We have to be very careful that if we do make a challenge to the allegation, that we are not in fact fitting the exact definition that they are putting in there, and they are meaning.
Word.
That we are not in fact showing disregard for the law, or saying that at all times we have some special status that it makes us immune from it. We have to be careful that that's not what we're doing.
Yeah, and I'm sharing the chat so that
like
for the record, you guys can see it. But go ahead, Jay.
They always say how it's, these are already commonly rejected arguments. Like, they always make that statement of saying
because they are.
Yeah, right.
It is absolutely true that the sovereign citizen rhetoric, that because of something with my birth certificate,
right?
Okay, because of something with the Social Security, because of something with the oh shit, it's so warm out here. I forgot to bring my jacket.
But sometimes
it's almost 50. It's almost 50 degrees out here, guys, in February. Summer. Wow. I'm sorry. Winter is over.
Sometimes it seems like they'll you might not even take it that far. Like where Sunny had that one, where she wasn't even really like treading that close to crazy arguments, but they just automatically like put
it's
that.
It's not automatic. It was not automatic. It was absolutely an afterthought. They had never brought it up before, and they on appeal they just decided to sneak it in there. That's the difference. That's how you know the difference. Are they just saying it because they're doing a Hail Mary, or do I have shitty things in my document? I hope everybody's understanding what we're trying to distinguish here.
And are you also saying that, like, if you are going to have any type of arguments that are similar to these things, to make sure that we're addressing it and stating our intent, and that
absolutely
kind of rule ourselves.
This is why absolutely, and that's why in our notices you will see things where we say this notice is not intended to do this or that or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that if their definition is someone who shows that they disregard the law, or they're claiming that they're above the law, or at all times they're immune from the law,
misuse of the UCC, old banking acts,
unless it absolutely applies. So don't be afraid of using things that apply, because one of the other things that is labeling sovereign citizens is the misuse of federal statutes when they're talking to you about DMV codes, and we're talking about the Constitution. That also, it's like, why don't you understand what is happening and focus on only what is directly in front of you? Because when they're telling people, for example, anything that is some administrative code, they're treating you like an internal employee. It's the equivalent of a Walmart employee having a meeting in HR department. Okay. So when you imagine you actually do work for that corporation and they're talking to you about why you haven't been wearing your blue shirt, and then you start talking about your constitutional rights. Does everybody comprehend how that can make you look insane?
Yeah.
Why are you talking about your
Yes.
constitutional rights when we're telling you that you agreed to wear this blue shirt to work? That's what gets people mislabeled, or properly labeled, I guess, as sovereign citizen, because that is not even relevant. Does everybody comprehend?
Yeah,
You can
because that's
ask
exactly
questions
what
if
my
you
bot
don't.
was telling me.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that was exactly what my bot was telling me, is that they're not, that's not what they're trying to imply.
See?
I will say,
People that say government authority only applies if you consent to it, or that the legal split between a natural person and a legal person, meaning all caps thing.
All of those things.
But they do reach because they called me a sovereign citizen just because I said I was a private woman, exercising no privilege granted by the state.
Yeah,
indeed,
they calling it all sovereign citizen
So,
stuff.
so
Anything challenging it.
again, there is recasting when you're kicking them in the nuts. And
correct.
there's look at what you actually said on this line and in this sentence. And this is, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Word. That's
Because
why.
Kay made a complete statement that because she was not in her private capacity and not exercising her privilege by the state, that's a complete sentence, instead of it doesn't apply to me because I'm a living, breathing flesh and blood and bone, and your statutes only deal with fictions. Does everybody see the difference between those two
Yes.
sentences?
Yes.
Yes. Because they
Right.
do cherry pick. Yeah, they cut and pick what they're gonna try to use against
So
you.
we're not talking about kicking them in the nuts and so they throw a Hail Mary. Okay? We're not talking about that. We're talking about still saying things like, because I'm private and I'm alive, that's why that's a totally different statement. Then this statute clearly represents people acting in a certain capacity, exercising a privilege granted by the state, and not just everybody just because they're alive. If that's what you're explaining and you explain it in those two sentences, it is unlikely, even though it can happen, to be casted as a sovereign citizen. But we have to make sure we are not triggering that. Even if you need to remove the phrase private uh, people or whatever, okay, maybe you might want to rephrase that. But we got to stop this appearance that we are incompetent.
I find it to be helpful if you phrase it like, but you belong to the class of the, or not that, to where, fuck, you said something, I was gonna reword it to the,
Individualism, even though there's a
no, it's
That
like,
distinction between that.
at the time of the alleged act or omission, the record doesn't reflect that I was acting in a capacity regulated by the state.
yeah, okay,
So you can say it like that, which obviously is in essence, I'm in my private capacity. But if saying those things are getting you recasted, then find a different way to articulate that.
or like, the one that, trading has said a lot, where it's like, cite the provision that is in the statute that that can regulate private, to where you're like kind of disclosing that you are in the private capacity without making a claim that you are.
Yeah, and that's why the reframing that at the time of the alleged act or omission, the record does not reflect that I was acting in a regulated capacity, aka anything other than private. But you don't
Correct.
have to put the AKA anything other than private. You can just leave it at that phrase. The record doesn't reflect that at the time of the act or omission that I was in a capacity that could be regulated by this entity. that's saying I'm in my private capacity without, again, using phraseology that gets us recasted.
And it's keeping it completely relevant because it's absolutely relevant when you say it that way.
Now, I
It's
do not
relevant when we
recall.
say it the other way too. They
Right.
just use it to say, "Oh, you're trying to say," even though that's not what you're trying to say.
So there's this.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Now look. Now, I do not recall when assisting in this being put together that even what they're quoting here, right? Because those are quotes, and then the brackets means they're editorially adding something. I do not recall that at all being in the document. So to me, this is a bit of a canned letter with some reorganizing of the
Oh,
canned
did you
letter.
search the phrase to see
Like,
if it actually is in the complaint or any
I'm,
document? Did you highlight it and then search, do a find for,
I'm going to go
even if it's
back
just
and do.
partially?
I'm going to do it, but a part of me already knows deep down in my heart that if it ain't there, because I ain't put it there. Now, I don't think our friend-in-law doctored it up, but if they did, then that's the whole purpose of lay assistance. You guys make your final decisions of what you file, but it ain't what the fuck I put in there. So
Well, again, search the documents, even for a partial phrase that might, um, reveal if it's in the document, regardless of who may have added it. Because if it's not there at all,
mhm,
then you already know that that is,
complete
grounds.
recasting.
Yeah, that's grounds to object as well,
Correct.
because it would be a violation of 3.3 for making these misrepresentations to the court if it's in fact not in the document.
Yep, yep.
All right.
So,
So I still want to see on the screen. So if you can pause on your screen sharing, if somebody
okay.
could pull up a document where the attorney used the term sovereign citizen and actually defined it, please put it up.
Malika has one somewhere. She just can't find it, right?
That's the
We
thing that's
I'm
we
looking
funny. I
through.
actually
yes, we
know
do.
it's Hassan's consultation, and I just
Correct.
happened to be CC'd in the folder, and I just opened up the doc. Okay.
And I just can't remember where it
I've been
is,
looking
so
for it for like
forgive
3 days
me.
now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, forgive me, guys. But I was just pointing out the fact that, the whole quote thing, bringing up sovereign citizen rhetoric or the sovereign citizen theory that the plaintiff presents, it's like, it's very interesting because nowhere are you saying or mentioning, like you might have mentioned in the beginning, like, yeah, there's something about quieting title, blah, 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 blah. But then when you really want to go in, attorney, you mention nothing about canceling the instrument. You mentioned nothing about
Because
what
that's not
quieting
sovereign
title
citizen.
really.
I'm just trying to throw a Hail Mary and get
Exactly.
the court to only focus on this part, which, subject to seeing if it's even in there. I just wanted you to focus on this part, and I want you to use this individual sentence to, um, just overlook anything that might be meritorious.
Exactly. And then when it comes to those, and I guess why you guys are looking for that definition in that document, right? Or in the footnotes of a document. The other thing too is the whole Joseph Esquivel forensic audit thing that ultimately it is good to have to help you better frame what you're going to say, but not to be like, I'm going to present this as evidence and have Joseph Esquivel come to the court and be an expert witness, blah, 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 because they're also, because it's really not necessary. For one, it's not really necessary at all. And they're already, pegging him as someone who only solely helps pro se mortgagors, right? And he has been classified by some court as strictly a self-proclaimed pro se, sovereign citizen himself. So even when I see that type shit, it's like, yeah, they're trying really hard. Like they are really doing the Drew Bledsoe here. It's definitely a Harold Murray type situation because even though I advise the friend-in-law, our friends-in-law, to never, ever, 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 ever. However, it is your final decision of what you want to do, but you do not have to bring that thing forward. And what I mean by that thing, I mean that forensic audit. You don't have to bring it forward. You don't have to use it anywhere on the record, but you can use it to help you frame what's going on to get to the point of there is no valid or actual chain of assignment or transference. And if there is one, then they need to bring it forth to prove that they're the person entitled to enforce. You know what I'm saying? That's all it needs to be used for. But a lot of people try to use it as a gotcha. Oh yeah, I got them now, and it's not a
People
gotcha.
think it's proof that they are owed something because of some, secondary, tertiary transaction that may have happened behind the scenes. And
Correct.
because the note itself, which has their name on it, has been, used to profit all these other people, that somehow links back to I don't owe what I promised to pay. And that's why it can't be used that way. That's not
Correct.
actually true. Whatever you're
Correct.
doing on the front end or promise to perform on the front end and they promise to perform on the front end, that's your business. Any of those other things behind the scenes, that's just to support why you don't have to feel any guilt when you get the instruments that they are trying to lean you with canceled.
Correct. Should only be focusing on proof, proof, proof. They say some shit. They might say some shit that really bothers you, and you don't like it. You don't like it a lot.
How you doing?
Yeah.
I'm
They
looking for
don't
these
like
sneakers at home.
Nexus very much, do they?
New, what'd you say, bro?
So they don't really like the idea of having to prove a nexus exists. It's like, when it really comes down to it, that's all you're asking is to say, the instrument or whatever. But then it was on that one that you had pulled up, it worded it like, it was just like absurd to think that you would actually question that or imply that the bank did this, and blah blah blah, whatever it said on there. But it's like um suggesting that that's like strange for you to want to try to prove that they actually did have a nexus in the matter. Like
Yeah.
they're saying like, oh,
Absolutely correct, Jake. That is the linchpin of it all, because
Word.
that is the very first step and the foundation of everything, and they need to presume it because there is no proof of
right.
it, so they
And it's
have
all
to
about
make it
that
seem like
presumption.
absurd that you would want to make them prove it, because why wouldn't they want to not prove it?
Yeah, if you can pull up that what you had up on the screen just a minute ago there, Hassan, because I can't remember how it was worded, but it was implying that the banks would never do this or something, to where it's kind of like an attorney show authority. It's like, oh, like what you're trying to imply that they would like do this without authority. It's like, well, I don't know.
Yep.
You need to show. I mean,
Apparently
you
we've
could have found it in the
had
trash. I don't
judges
know.
ask that in we ask that in courtroom authority. Why would attorney risk their career and their license to show up for somebody that didn't actually hire them? A judge actually said that in a courtroom, in open court, with the challenged attorney right there, turning beet red. Because, of course, the answer is we do this every day, Judge. We show up all the time risking it, because they know that few people, if anyone at all, will ever make the Nexus challenge. They want that to be presumed so bad. And when we do anything before challenging it and continuing to challenge it over and over and over in as many forms and ways as we can, they know they got us. If they let us go past the threshold, it's over.
Correct.
And right there with the in the parentheses, it says dismissing plaintiff's sovereign citizen ideology, claims that the lender presented unverified or and fraudulent documents, blah blah blah. It's, to me, I don't know, I haven't read that, but it's almost, I took it, at least when I read it first, was like, not that they actually said that, but that they're saying that that's what they were meaning by it.
Correct. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't even write that type shit in the
Yeah.
documents. You know what I mean? Like,
But didn't they put it in quotes?
well,
Well,
the
favor
quote, the
citizen
quote,
ideology.
the quote part presented unverified and fraudulent documents purporting to. That's why I was going to look for the actual complaint.
Exactly.
And like, bro, I know that doesn't say that shit. Like,
Because if they're referencing that sentence and they're putting it as a quote, why not say the exact line in the complaint that it's on, the exact paragraph? Why don't they say paragraph 19
yeah,
or
yeah.
35?
See, yeah, that's what that's what I'm seeing. That's
So
why I was
I
like,
would
pay
definitely
attention to
do
what they saying.
a find all for even just that first part of the phrase to see if it appears in a document at all. Because
Exactly.
if they're quoting it, it has to appear exactly as it's quoted. Okay, you can't
Uh-huh.
quote something and then you're paraphrasing,
I think they're
because they
absolutely
would have to
paraphrasing.
say they would have to say in paraphrasing, and again, they can't use paraphrasing to recast.
What if you use like reverse psychology, reword that sentence and
Hmm.
direct it at them, like as if
We would use it against them if they're quoting something and it literally is not there.
That's why I was like,
That's the
yo,
part to use against them.
I'm
Now,
willing
if it
to.
is in there, and you wish to rephrase, then you just amend so that it can better reflect, or you do a supplemental pleading, depending on which one is more acceptable in that jurisdiction.
So
Have
let's see
any
how
of
many
you
times
saw the
fraudulent
video
parts up.
that just recently? I just saw it like yesterday. It was just at a city council meeting. This guy uh, walks up there to get his like 2 or 3 minutes that they give you, and he puts on this white wig, and it looks like like a British court. You know how the magistrates or whatever over there, they wear those old like wigs that make them look like they're from the 1600s or whatever. And anyhow, he starts like addressing the council as if he's like a king. Have you seen that?
I've never seen it.
It's pretty funny because he basically is like saying like, yeah, don't listen to these people, like they you know they should just be ignored. And it's pretty good. You should watch it. It's kind of the I don't know, it's similar to what they're doing here, I think, where they're we need it needs to be rephrased the way he rephrases it, and he makes them think like, oh shit, that's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a double standard thing. He really exposes the double standard, and I feel like that's what's going on here. Is they're applying a pretty big double standard to the legitimate arguments.
No. Um, some arguments are legitimate and some are not. And we cannot conflate them. Because bad arguments, if they're batted away because they're bad, then that's what they deserve.
I just typed in fraud just because I know it will bring up fraudulent and not one. Let me just double check here. I don't want to suffer, and I'm doing this in front of your face, which means I'm open for correction if I'm loud and wrong. Quote, present. Maybe they're quoting a one of these case decisions. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're quoting a case decision. Okay.
Okay,
Maybe that's what it
it
is.
seems like they might be quoting the Larkins and versus Montgomery.
So we'll give you that. And Montgomery County is Maryland, right? Okay, cool. Well, look, let's see if I quote any case. I'm sorry, our friend-in-law that we have assisted with our lay assistants, quoted any Maryland case decision. Let's just see. Let me just go back through here just a tad bit. And I'm not moving
Wait,
fast so you can't
fraudulent and
see.
unauthorized. Go back to fraudulent and unauthorized. Fraudulent and unauthorized cloud. Okay, that's not the same thing.
That's why I said he never mentions the fucking title. He never mentions anything about canceling the instrument or quieting. Why? Why are you not saying anything there, huh, Tristan Dietrich? What's wrong? You
But
don't want to
even if they
really
talk
address?
about canceling the instruments, that's different from, again, the so-called sovereign citizen ideology that they're attempting to
Exactly. That's why I
say.
said. That's why I didn't
Because
mind
there's
doing this in
nothing
front of you
wrong
guys'
with
face.
saying that you wish to cancel the instruments. That's not necessarily one of the things that I've even heard any sovereign citizen that I'm immune because I was born under some sign.
Exactly.
Okay, that's not the same thing.
I'm a Cancer, and you can't prosecute me because my moon was in Scorpio and my Cancer was on the rise when I was exiting my mom's womb, allegedly.
And there's a court case that another court case that has some of the similar things, but just because all those other things happened in that case doesn't mean it applies here. You know, they're just lumping it all
That's
together.
true. But we have to see if they're actually quoting a case or are they quoting the petition.
They were quoting a case. They were not quoting the petition at all.
Okay.
There's no way.
Okay.
But that's how I want to go. Let me go up one. What does that say there? Where that green fraud is? Can you see what that's stemming from?
Fraudulent false claims. Courts inequity may prevent future injury to property rights, preemptively addressing fraudulent and false claims. Yeah.
And where did that come from?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Did we just pull that out of our ass, or did we pull that from Schlossberg v. Citizens Bank, which is obviously a part of some Maryland court reporter, a reporting publication? That's why I said this guy is cooked.
Yeah, he is.
And you're acting like these sovereign citizens out here that are just like quoting shit and just putting it in there, and they're just trying to misapply.
We can also use their definitions should they provide them, especially
trying to scare people off.
If it includes people. Well, they should. Y'all have to listen. Some people most people, let me just put it like that. At least 75% of people are posting bullshit. Okay. We have to make sure that we realize, embrace that, and not think that because they might cast us under the same thing that we're somehow absolved, or even the people making the 75% making the bad arguments are somehow absolved. Okay. When
I will say this,
to be constructive about our writing, when it is recasted even or alleged to be sovereign, we have to look at it. We can't just be like, well, they're all criminal and they're all demonic, and so that means my writing is perfect and they just don't like it, and then we go around and pat each other on the back because we gave them a hard time.
though, I will say this, one, they have to look at every individual case for what it is and not make these absurd claims of the sovereign citizen ideology because you don't like what is in there. That is a fallacy. Marbury versus Madison says you ought to say what the law is, not what you think. I could care less about what you think. What you think is irrelevant to me. What it is what it is.
We have to use it against them when they're doing it too. And perhaps we might want to point out when they are doing things that fit that their own definition of sovereign citizen. Are they disregarding the law? Are they making claims that that show that they are above the law? Are they making even what they are calling sovereign citizen mistakes? Perhaps we can flip it and use it on them if that is the case. But we cannot hope to do that if we are in fact speaking as if we are who disregard the law, and that we are not attempting to follow the black letter of the law as it's written. But we cannot do that.
We haven't been doing that really. I mean, that's what we've always practiced, is to not do that. So I mean, have you guys been running into this a lot, like on outside, with other people's stuff? Because I mean,
it's not just other people's stuff. We will craft documents with people using their statement of facts and everything, and then when they get their documents back, they add things in there that they think might be helping them when it is in fact prejudicing them, but because they want to die on that hill.
I'm glad this friend-in-law didn't.
They want to die on that hill. They want it to be, I won because I showed that the government is de
Illegitimate.
facto, and
Illegitimate.
illegitimate. They didn't actually ratify something or whatever. Like, people are wanting to do that. And it even
Forgive me for
seems
my
like,
confusion. I know around here you've always taught not to stay far away from that shit. So I guess
No,
I'm a
I
little,
think if I could
confused. I
add,
guess.
one of the things is that you try not to making um you have to understand first what is being said in order to regenerate it for yourself. I think sometimes in the regenerating it for yourself, you may add, as Malika was saying, something that you think may be helpful, but it actually hurts you. Like, case in point for myself, like originally when I submitted my utility statement or of notice to the utility company, I was like, I did the consult, and I still had added stuff that I thought was relevant based on what I went through. And then I had to go back to Malika and say, hey, do you think this threw me off? Do you think this is why they didn't respond the way how I want them to respond? Um,
Wow.
you know, just
Yeah.
to verify, because I added in something about the fair credit portion, and she sent me the list of all the bills or whatever statements, but she addressed none of the other issues. She just picked that one line, and then even in her response she said, oh, I sent you out all the statements, blah blah blah. So I resubmitted the notice and also put in a complaint to the board that's supposed to be running them, just to
Mhm.
see if it was, and I literally copied and pasted the template this time. Like, I didn't add anything except for the infraction date. They had an infraction against my dwelling by cutting off the water. Judge,
so
judge.
you're saying that you added in one sentence and then the agent focused only on that added sentence to
Yes,
object to?
because you remember. Sorry, 1 second. I'm trying to run away from my son who's judge. Judge, too much noise. So I added in the Fair Credit Reporting Act and mentioned something like that in addition to what we had discussed. So she subtracted that from the notice,
Right.
and she only focused on that. She
Yeah,
sent me out
everything else
some,
thrown in the trash.
yeah. So
Everything else
everything else
discarded.
that I mentioned,
Every other relevant point put to the
yeah,
side so they could focus on this one
exactly.
irrelevant thing here.
So I resubmitted it now because remember I spoke to the Attorney General about the case. And in response to the Attorney General, they told me reach out to my district person who's supposed to be responsible for my district here in Orange County. So because of that correspondence, now I sent them out another email, and I eliminated that fair credit thing altogether. I just focused on the facts that we had brought out in the utilities class, stating that I should have a right to utilities as long as I'm using them only and solely for personal use, which I am. And so I sent that back out to them, and I'm currently waiting to see. They have 10 days to respond.
Okay.
Got you.
And if
Thank you
that,
for sharing that.
yeah, so I'm just waiting, and hopefully, it's a better outcome than before. And if not, then we go ahead with that declaratory action.
That's right.
But I just giving them a chance, because I do have to put into perspective that my communication originally may have been misconstrued through how I communicated it.
And that's what we're here to talk about.
Word.
Is it being misconstrued, or is it a Hail Mary situation?
Blue 42.
So who is going to pull up their screen with a definition of, from the attorney, of sovereign citizen?
I will say
Oh,
that Sonny
nice.
did have that one. Oh, you guys got one? I'll stop sharing. I was gonna bring up that one Sonny had in the chat. That's the only reason, but I know I shared it already, so you guys can at least see it long enough.
Very good, Snow.
Let's hit stop share. Okay, guys, whoever's gonna share, do your thing.
I don't care anything about the general sovereign citizen definitions, guys, necessarily. I am talking about when the attorney describes what they are meaning inside of their communication to us, whether it's in the body of the document or in the footnote of the document. So if you have that, please pull it up.
I'm about to see where I can find it. I'm going to go and do a quick little search of that term throughout my folders and see if I can find any document that may have that in
I
the
don't know if
footnote.
it's going to be able to pick it up if it's inside of an uploaded
Yeah, I know,
document.
right? I know,
But
right?
it doesn't hurt to try.
I know, right? I'll at least try.
Flat out
Yeah,
call
I'm
me
looking
sovereign
too. I just
citizen in the
remember
middle
that
of
it
the
was
court.
I was saying I'm looking for it as well. I just remember that it was a case that they used to reference all the time. It's the same case. They always tend to reference it in federal court.
Yeah.
I'm going to paste the full citations in the chat in just a moment here.
See that we can pull up, or someone we've been helping that we can pull up, where we are looking at the definition as the attorneys are meaning it, so that we can address it directly or flip it back on them.
That would be in the Wikipedia, but it's not in the U.S. Code.
Wow. I'm looking. I'm definitely looking.
It's called basically what it's called is a what do they call that? Urban legend is what it's called. It's an urban legend.
Okay, Ron Bell says, hello, community. Has there ever been a case submitting the letters of unconscionability ever stopped the foreclosure? Absolutely. Absolutely. I got another email from the county. Okay. Graves Rafe just got arrested. She didn't tell us that she was even having an issue. And if it's the same stuff that she's brought through here, for us to review, this would have been a great class for that. So that we could examine what she may have been saying that have not produced the results that we know are possible. So, but back to what Ron asked about stopping foreclosure, you have to comprehend what it is that you're doing so that you know why individual filings are helping you to get the result that you wish, which is what, or the remedy that you wish, whether it's stopping a foreclosure or if it's post foreclosure, stopping the eviction, because it can be stopped at any level. Even though this is the beginner class, I just want you guys to know that declaratory action is going to be launched. We're going to have a class, and you guys better be ready to make a declaratory action against something, even as newbies.
Yes, remember you were using me as an example, Malika.
And it wasn't just you, but I'm glad you brought it up, because our brother-in-law, Trading Brigade, don't know if he's on here right now, but he sent me a template that I reviewed. You saw my comment on the template?
Yeah, I saw it not so long ago.
And of course, all I'm thinking is this can be easily drafted for any county in America, because we're bringing back into focus the pig pen class, guys. the Pigpen class because it's tied into the county courts themselves, and things like when the sheriff comes to your home to even do what they call service of process, or when they come to assist the removal of your children from your home, or when the juvenile courts are again the county's courts. And those who have taken the Pigpen class, y'all already know about how to find those codes that confirm the power and authorities of the county is limited to county property. It's time for us to link those things together so that we can apply actions like declaratory relief to bar them from their intrusion based on their own regulations. We don't care nothing about that definition of sovereign citizen. We care only about the definition that as it's meant by the attorneys that we're talking to. That's it. Not etymology, not where it says in some public law somewhere. No. As the attorneys are meaning it. Like that we are who is disregarding the law. We are who is disrespecting the rule of law. We are who are miscomprehending the rules, the statutes, the applications of those things. Because if that's what they are actually meaning, it is our job to go back and make sure that we are not saying things that give that impression. That allows us to highlight if it is merely a recasting, if it is merely an attempt to mislead the tribunal, that we can point that out because we didn't say anything that might give the impression that we are who is disrespecting or miscomprehending the law. And if that's what they're meaning, a lot of us are doing that. We're saying things. We're still believing things. Because some people are new here to Newbie Tuesday. So I get what Jake is saying. Hey, our documents don't say that stuff. Our templates don't say, yeah, I know. But not everybody here is in our classes. Lots of new people are coming to our classes still with that because it's Newbie Tuesday. They're still coming with that. If I don't pass the bar when I go to court stuff, okay. They're still saying, do I have to answer for the name? Do I say that I'm the authorized representative? Are you still arguing? Well, you're saying sovereign and sovereign means this, and citizen means this other thing, and you're using it as an opportunity to educate them about the definition of sovereign citizen instead of paying attention to what they're saying. They're actually saying. So
the judge is a banker.
Go ahead, Jake.
I said the judge is a banker.
Oh yes, yes.
So what?
Or acting like the judge is an accountant.
Okay, so we move for a more definite statement.
No, we do not. We look at what they're actually saying, Stephen. Are they saying that you are using some constitutional argument that is irrelevant? And we don't hear that because we're like, how can the Constitution be irrelevant? I just need to say Constitution, Constitution, Constitution 3 times and my case should get dismissed.
Okay.
Because sometimes we might be saying something like, this only deals with fictions, dead fictions, and I'm a living, breathing man, and that's why it doesn't apply to me.
No, I don't say that.
We're not talking about you individually. This is Newbie Tuesday.
Okay.
Because there's still people who say that. And we know this because we're in consultations all week long, guys. All week long. And people always ask, so what about this, Malika? What about that, Malika? Otherwise, very intelligent people. And what is the what about this or that? This is what I'm saying. What if I pass the bar? What if I say that I'm here, I'm the authorized representative? Why would you say stuff like that? and then try to educate them on what a sovereign citizen is. Sovereign means this is no, dummy. You are the sovereign citizen. Why? Because you're saying dumb shit. Like these statutes only apply to fictions, and I'm a living, breathing man or woman. I'm not a fiction, I'm the living soul. People are still saying these things. People are still putting this stuff in their paperwork. Is it that we are not comprehending this? Or are we in denial? Exactly, Mel. I deny the court's jurisdiction altogether. I don't consent to your jurisdiction. I'm a flesh and blood man, not the all cap. Yes, people are still saying this. Some of our intermediate and advanced class that are still on this Tuesday might find it unbelievable. But we are consulting with people daily that are still coming from this camp, still coming from this idea. This is why we do Newbie Tuesdays all the time. And we address it as if it's the first time we're ever hearing it. Using pseudo-legal word trips, like claiming that capitalization, punctuation, or legal name versus living man makes them immune from statutes. Exactly. Now, what might make you immune from prosecution is that you didn't do the act as described or defined under the statute. That's the way to make the argument, not claiming that some type of punctuation or capitalization is what makes you immune from statutes. This is stupid shit. And it cannot be cured by saying, let me merely educate you on what the word sovereign means. Argue that driver's licenses, registration, or taxes don't apply to them at all. Not just that they are misapplied in this case. Do you see the problem? We want to say that it's misapplied in this case, which demonstrates and shows that we comprehend when it might be applicable. Because if I could show you how you might not be able to prove the elements to make it applicable in this case, is a totally different type of argument than it doesn't apply at all, ever. And it's impossible for it to apply because I have blood running through my veins.
So Malika, you talking about like when I say to my husband, I'm not driving, I'm traveling, and he laughs at me.
It's ridiculous to say, especially in your private life. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm driving right now. Mm-hmm. Right at this moment. Now, of course, I'm in the passenger seat. But if anybody asks what I'm doing, I'm gonna say I'm driving, even though I'm not in control of the wheel, because this is how we talk colloquially. And I'm not gonna be afraid to use my words to people in my private life. Regular words. Because guess what? There's something called business travel. Did you know? Everybody that says I'm not driving, I'm traveling is as if traveling is exclusively when you're not getting paid. That is not true. The word travel is not applicable exclusively because you're not on the clock. Because you can travel on the clock. Anybody know that? You can be on business travel. Anybody ever heard that phrase? You can look it up right now. It's a thing. It exists. Reject the entire legal system as illegitimate. Say all lawyers are bar agents for the crown. So no court has power. That's a ridiculous thing to put together. And people are still stringing these words together.
The gold fringe around the flag means we're occupied.
Yes. Even though it's true. Don't say that stupid shit. The gold fringe on the flag. People are still saying these things. We're in administrative hearings talking about constitutional rights. That's like going to Target and they're saying, well, you keep wearing black pants with your red shirt instead of khaki pants. And we're here having a meeting to figure out why. And you go, it's against my constitutional rights to force me to wear khaki pants. You're going to go be Baker acted by your job. insist that all statutes are contracts they can opt out of by saying magic words. I'm so glad you put that in the chat, Mel, because this is what we're talking about on Newbie Tuesdays. And again, for our intermediate or advanced students and those we've helped and those who have access to our templates and things like that, it's going to be very strange that we keep having this conversation. But as long as it keeps coming up in our consultations, we know it's something that needs to be talked about here. And perhaps we need to start engaging people when they say these things to let them know that this is the problem that's getting us recasted. They're using it as a justification to recast us all, obviously, despite our best efforts. So it's something that needs to spread, that this reframing has to happen. Oh, yes, gas. We know that's why, Veronica. Shah says I was once guilty of that. Yes.
I'd like to, Malika, you know, the other thing that they're training these cops for, these idiot ones that I'm dealing with, is when you say private capacity, even if you're talking casual or whatever, and I know we've talked about this before, but he's looking at me funny, and I said, "What's your problem?" And I said, "Haven't you ever read the rules you're attempting to enforce and the applicability when it's applicable and that kind of shit?" And he said, "Well, you're just using those words as sovereign citizen stuff." And I said, "Who said that?"
Exactly. So guess what? Stop using them instead of trying to educate them on why it's not sovereign citizen. Because again, we are being made privy to internal conversations that even the attorneys are having. And now when we say things that are typically said by sovereign citizens, and apparently they used to be proud to say or claim that they're sovereign citizens, but now we're saying the same words, but disclaiming, oh no, I'm not a sovereign citizen. We look like another level of insanity and we don't even see it.
Yeah, and so that's why I like this case I just found, because I was doing some research on it. And I said, how come it is that they use the class of person? And, you know, we were talking about ambiguity and stuff. And I found that rape case, and it says that the courts have to prove that you're the class of person doing that conduct at the time. So
yeah. So saying I'm in my private capacity instead of, do you have evidence that I'm acting in the capacity and class of person? It seems like the same thing, but it's not.
Exactly.
One will get you labeled as a sovereign citizen and the other one will not. Again, refuse standard procedure. They won't enter a plea. They won't answer to the caption at all. They won't follow basic motion rules. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you? If you did have respect for the law, why don't you show that you're competent in your application of it, whether it's to your offensive tactics or your defensive tactics? This is where the, oh, it's their rules, you don't have to learn it, is harmful. It's not their rules. It's our rules of engagement.
Where am I going?
It's our rules of engagement on earth. If you wish to speak to me and you cannot show that I have given you authority to speak to me, and you don't signal to me that perhaps you want permission to speak to me, or that you have some previously agreed upon thing that you're now enforcing, then again, how exactly are you talking to me? We don't ask those types of questions. When we are saying things like, well, it's your rules, so I don't have to know them. I don't have to, of course you should know them, especially if you're going to object to any of them. Whether it's because you don't want to meet and confer, or whether you, any other thing, you want to change the date of a hearing, you want to set a date, you want to do motion practice. Why don't you know it? Why are we going to like pat ourselves on the back for being ignorant to how to handle ourselves in a legal setting? You see, The next point, file huge walls of affidavits of truth, liens, and bizarre notices instead of focused legal arguments. Do you guys see that in the chat? That's why when we were asking the question yesterday, we had it up on the live stream. I'm going to put it up on a regular basis. The question is, are you a sovereign citizen? Most people will come on and say no, because sovereign means this and citizen means that. No, dummy. Are you filing huge walls of affidavits of truth as if there's something called affidavits of half truths or lies? Do you think that filing more and more and more of them is what is going to get the court to move? Because I promise you, if you don't call something a motion, ain't nothing happening. I promise you, if you don't call it an abatement, they're probably not going to read it. I promise you, if you don't call it a judicial notice and make it follow the rules of a judicial notice and not just as an opportunity for you to argue the merits of your case, you will be identified, not even recasted, because some things are being recasted, especially from our more advanced group. It is being recasted because we're kicking their ass. But we're laughing. The people who are being called sovereign citizens because they're filing huge walls of the affidavits of truth, they're trying to file liens and bizarre notices instead of focused legal arguments, they're not laughing. They're crying. They're crying everywhere that will hear them. They're crying on my live. They're crying on your live. They're crying all over TikTok. They're crying on Facebook. They're crying on Instagram. And do you guys see them? Do you guys see them?
I'm so glad we're having this conversation right now, because this is exactly what I was talking to the bot about.
Who's doing the crying again? Is it the attorneys doing the crying?
Well, when, like I said, our advanced team is the attorneys doing the crying, and the attorneys doing the Hail Mary, and the attorneys acting as the sovereign citizens as defined.
Indeed.
As they define, we should say.
Correct.
But the people who are crying are the ones who, again, file huge walls of affidavits of truths, claim that they're doing liens on people and entities like cities and counties and states, and file bizarre notices like about their living status.
Forgive me, there's no reflection on the community, so we'll just leave this on me. Is there a part where we're supposed to care about those type people when they realize that shit doesn't work and then they come to us on their hands and knees begging to help them?
We are supposed to care. Yes, that's an yes. We are supposed to care.
I care, but does that mean now you have to give up all your time and prioritize their folly?
Maybe if you're into that type of stuff, but I try not to let people.
That's not my kink.
I try not to let people force me to do things that I am unable or unwilling to do. So there's that.
Indeed.
But we keep it in Newbie Tuesday because most people are not there.
Gotcha.
Okay. And they are coming to us on their hands and knees because they might be suspicious that it doesn't work, or they might actually feel like maybe they're just misled about how it works, which is why they ask us even on our calls. And I always act surprised because a part of me is actually surprised that this shit is still coming up. And they're like, well, how can I use my authenticated birth certificate? Sis, you ain't, unless you're going out the country, unless you're going somewhere that they might not have or you might want to be in contact with a embassy.
Yeah, Concepts Coaching does not verify guru abuse syndrome or misplaced application.
But it does come up, and I won't discourage people from it coming up. But if you're, a lot of people, and I get what Hassan's saying, a lot of people do ask their questions in a way where they want it to be validated, and you could tell they're deflated when you show that it's trash, because these people have paid thousands a lot of times by the time they get to us, right, Hassan?
Right.
Tens of thousands. In some cases.
Yes, sometimes it is tens of thousands. And they're left with things that they cannot actually use to get the remedy that they want. I don't know what it can be used to get remedy for, except like I mentioned, the authentication is for when you're maybe going some far away place and you might want to get close to an embassy. I don't know. Maybe that. But other than that, we got nothing for you.
Correct.
There's so many more of those communities, Malika, than there is of lawful living type
Right.
communities. There's so much more of that. And I think people are attracted to them because if it's, like going into Bloomingdale's as opposed to J.C. Penney's, if it costs more, it has to be worth it.
This is why me and
That's how.
Hassan and the other amicus have been saying that we might change our prices, because if we got to make it just as expensive so that it can show that it's just as value, not even just as, it's it's actually more valuable, because we can show you how to get remedy. And if people are
Correct.
willing to pay $1,000 for consultations and $10,000 for I don't even know what that they don't even give you, it does not even produce results of any kind. They
Yes.
can't even the things that we don't have receipts for. Shout out to everybody who took our mask hole class.
Word.
Because we don't have receipts for when people got remedy for that class, because it was private letters that they had to send to their HR department of their job.
Hey, and even in light of that, of the whole so-called retainer going up, there's some amicus members that are quiet that then they let us know, bro, they ain't got 750. I'm not talking to them. Not looking at a document. I'm not answering my phone. I don't discount and I don't prorate and I don't care how they feel about it. And now I see what they're talking about, because people will want you to take time away from your loved ones and trust that you make their issues that they should have been studying about, maybe because they want to be all grown and call themselves grown. But then now we got to be like, oh, you're harsh, Hassan, because you should have more compassion. My compassion is, do you not see that that's a tree, Georgia the jungle? But yet you still want to swing from vines because it's your birthright, because you're a state vine swinger national. Okay. Okay. Okay, go right ahead.
People have different issues, obviously, when they come to us. Some people
Indeed.
have different levels of their ego that they're still having to wrestle with. And again,
That's true.
especially when they have in what they feel invested a lot into their comprehension, but they've gotten nowhere because they were not given the basics and basis upon which to build a meritorious anything. And this is why we have people like Sharon in the chat that's basically chasing down the courts to see if they're actually going to prosecute her son. And for some reason, they keep telling her, we don't even have a case here. That's not something that we can show a receipt for. But it doesn't mean that it's not powerful and it's not based on what we go over here.
They are scared of her 40-year jail sentence that she put in her last notice, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
What?
That's assumption, though.
Well, the court clerk, no, she sent me a different email address to ask to. So I'm going to send them, I have it drafted up. I'm just going to send after class and ask this other email address that the clerk gave me if they have any open cases. So
Awesome.
This is fun. It's been very entertaining. I print everything for my son to see. So every day he gets home and looks in his file. I have a little file on my table for him. And he looks at it, sees what new data is in there, if there's any. So his dad find this very entertaining. They're enjoying this.
Yeah, the receipts are not always visible because I got two from the state here that I haven't talked about with you guys, but one from the revenue department, both from the revenue department, but one about taxes, state taxes, and then the other about vending licenses. And I got them to leave me alone. So they don't always send you something saying, hey, yeah, we're gonna leave you alone. They just leave you alone. And it's been almost 2
Congratulations,
years.
Darlene.
Thank you,
Congrats,
love.
congrats, girl.
And
Thank
that's what I'm
you.
talking about. Remember, you guys hear me say all the time, they're not always gonna write you win on a piece of paper and send it to you.
I
Never.
think the next thing to consider too is, as you were saying, like 2 or 3 classes ago, Malika, we not really prepared for the whole system to crash, even though that, we really do want that to happen eventually. But there's like, people who have to continue to be actors,
Yes.
despite of whatever we present to them, but they're like gonna give you the win because they can't find a way to wiggle out of it if you present it correctly. And what I've
Yes.
found coming out to class more and more is, how you call it? There's knowledge and then there's wisdom. So you can have the knowledge of the information, but you get the wisdom of the information after you apply it.
Or you hear it from Trading Brigade.
Oh, you hear it from Trading
Word.
Brigade, as I have often bothered practically everyone. I haven't got in touch with Rima
You
yet,
hear
but I'm gonna
something
get
from
to her
Trading Brigade,
soon.
you just feel wiser.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else know what I'm talking
Hell
about?
yeah.
It's a fact.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
I
you
was
just
replaying
you
this
just
TikTok last night, and it was like, yeah, I
learning.
gotta study this.
After
Yeah.
Trading Brigade finish reading to you, you feel like, ah.
It is all it is often said intelligence rule the world, ignorance carries the burden. The man who is not able to develop his mind and use his mind is bound to be the slave of another man who uses his mind. I yield.
I bet
Word.
everybody here feel wiser now, don't they?
Eloquence.
Yeah, I
Put a
feel like
one in the
I
chat
can
if you
chop
feel
10 bricks
wiser.
right now.
Let me make sure I put my one. I just feel like I got some wisdom right there.
This is just facts.
That's what George Jefferson said. You can never hope to be free and ignorant at the same time.
Lots of people are though. That's
Yeah,
the
I
whole
know.
thing.
I think most people
Lots of
are.
people
What do you
are
have to say?
are you know, we want to remain a level of ignorance. And I hear what Hassan is saying, and people do have to take responsibility of outsourcing their wisdom. That's
Correct.
impossible. Outsourcing even your remedy.
But
That's
I
what
think
landed me
it's
here.
first you gotta know where to start, because
Correct.
we all have this the innate knowledge that something is wrong. But the question is, where do you go from there after you realize something is wrong? Because as I've shared before with the group and on the TikTok,
As
that
above, so
I
below.
went
Make sure
to
you
go to
download that newbie guide.
yeah.
Okay.
But before I got to you guys, it was the algorithm and prayer that led me here. So I
Welcome home.
failed a couple of times, before
Yeah.
I got to this point where
It's
I'm
because it's
now
like
telling
Darlene
a
said,
friend,
there are lots more groups that just sell pure fantasy
yeah,
than foundational knowledge.
that's a fact.
And
And
some
so,
of them, unfortunately, pride themselves because it's 100% free. But if you're giving out complete bullshit, who cares if it's free $1, $10, or 10,000? If it
Right. A
leads
lot
to
of them
no
is
remedy.
dopamine. It's just dopamine hits. It's like they get that dopamine hit in their brain when they learn some new thing that sounds like it's going to get them out of trouble, but it's like it doesn't mean it's real. You know what I mean? But it gives them these dopamine dumps, and that's what just keeps them going, and then they just kind of perpetuate this whole this whole space, I guess, as you call it, this topic, it just becomes this thing.
So we're going to warn you guys. You're absolutely right, Jake. And you just brought me to my next point. We have to warn you guys about some of those communities that are out there. Okay. So I like what you have here, Melissa, when you got done with talking about the
sovereign citizen stuff, rejecting the entire legal system as illegitimate, saying all our lawyers are bar agents for the crown, no court has power, and insist on all statutes are contracts, and they can opt out by saying magical words. It brings me back to the SPC type of stuff, the secured party creditor type of stuff. That has, I don't know if you, what do you guys think? Are we going to say it evolved to the trust stuff, or was it always including that stuff?
I think
I
it
think
was
it was
always
always
included.
I think,
Always included.
yeah, always
Because that's
included.
where I came over from. I think it was always included.
So the SPC is always the trust and claim your estate. It's always all one.
Yeah.
So that's why people like Useless L, which is what we're calling him now. That's his new nickname, Useless L. Some of you might know him as Yusuf.
Where's the case law?
Yeah, start yelling at the top of your lungs, Melissa.
Obfuscate.
Who said obfuscate? It's King Howard.
No, it wasn't me.
Y'all are
Sorry, I
hilarious.
couldn't help myself.
You turn to Shaggy now. It wasn't me.
Oh my goodness.
For real.
Okay. This guy has started with that SPC stuff. He will not let it go. I think he might be in his 50s, but he seems like he's getting senile or something. He came onto a live. He's beating his chest about how 40,000 people have passed through their community. And all anybody wants to know is, where are the receipts? Now, we just discussed that not everything is going to have a receipt. There are some things that we have, either only few of us have attempted it, and we haven't perfected the process, or that's it. You know, either not enough people have done it, or we haven't perfected the process. There are a few things like that, but most other things, oh my God, yes, the CES2KV trust, my Lord. Ah. Shaw, Mr. Shut the fuck up. Always included, but move the goalpost. Gratitude, David. Tice. Okay? These folks, the Derek Gonzalez's of the world, and I don't care if any of you are still his friend. The most receipts, not the only, because we all know that, like I said, there's certain things, again, either not enough people have done it, or we haven't perfected it. But there are a lot of other classes that people have gotten results for. Either results that they don't have a receipt for, because like we just said, they're not going to slide you in across the table with everything. Just like our mass hold class, just like Darlene just shared. Basically, Darlene just shared that from our unlicensed and don't give a fuck. Ain't that right, Darlene?
And taxes, yes, ma'am. Sure did.
See?
Offering people files, like gigantic files of tons of documents, is dangerous.
It absolutely is. You don't have any classes with any guidance. You don't do any regular lives where people are asking, oh, well, I have a specific question about this particular file or this particular class in the file. You don't offer any of that?
No, Malika, when you ask the question, they tell you refer to the document. And then when
But
you refer to the document,
you gave me a mega file with 10,000 books and 100,000 case law. How are we going to sort through it all and make it make
when I
any
ask you to help
sense
me, you
to
tell
apply
me
it?
that I need to go back because other people have gotten the same document. You're not allowed to speak on it.
Oh my God.
The longer it take you to get to the answer, you keep on paying.
Right. You're going to keep paying that $50 a month. Right.
And then these people got a mindset that they think, well, I'm doing this type of law space information sharing, and I don't want to get accused for unauthorized practice of law, and I need to marginalize what I'm doing in your mind as much so I can get the most reward for the least amount of work that I'm doing. And that's another part of the hypnosis from my perspective. It's like people want to play on people's minds in a guilt, in like a subtle guilt trippy kind of fashion.
So they're basically narcissists, where they're
Okay.
gaslighting people.
It's in their presentation, but that's why they won't have a Q&A live. And even if they do let you on the panel, you're going to get more gaslighting, because as soon as you ask a question a certain way,
oh yeah, and they start yelling.
Now you're trying to obfuscate.
Y'all need to just read. Y'all need to read. I'm not going to tell you what to read. I'm not going to read it along with you and go and explain it so you comprehend it, because I don't think some of these folks, their goal is to help us comprehend.
That's an interesting word, though. Obfuscate, if I remember, ob means in front of or before. And the fuscate part comes from the Latin fuscare, which means to darken. So the term means to darken before, but darken before what? Like before you present your dark energy? Like what? Like what do you? What do we? You know what I mean? Like
Don't darken my doorway in the courthouse.
Close your
Jesus
eyes and you
Christ.
won't see what's before you.
Some
Yeah.
people don't want us to see. Some people don't want us to actually have the power. I think, and I noticed this in different industries as well. One of the industries is the health and fitness, where especially the fitness part, where you're a trainer might benefit only when you pay your $50 or your $80 a month. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And so if they teach you how to train yourself and how to design your own workouts, you might only be with them 90 days, maybe 120 days, and then you go on and live your freaking life. And some people, that makes them sad or mad or nervous because they want to be able to brag about their residual income of blah, blah, blah at your
Jesus
expense,
Christ.
at your expense. So that you have the same trainer for 5 years, 10 years. Like, I mean, when I was helping people with that, I don't want you to, I mean, not that I don't love you guys, but I'm not trying to make you dependent nor keep you dependent. And I hope you guys feel that. Know
Amen,
that.
sister.
Absolutely. That's the best part about it,
The
Malika.
biggest compliment you guys can give me is I took what I learned here and I was able to help insert whatever. My mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, my aunt, my uncle, my cousin, my neighbor,
I wrote
an
the
entire new
document
group.
myself.
Say that again, Jay?
I said, and I wrote the document myself.
Yeah, that's okay too.
No, I'm saying like from learning, what I learned here, I
Yeah,
wrote it myself and didn't have
yeah.
to. That's the
And look, I took the transcripts or my notes from your video, your As Above, So Below. We've gotten these types of confessions, if you will, or testimonies where I watched your free class and I was able to do something with it. Yes, Yoni, help your daughter. Yes. I don't care what it is that I have that I'm doing. There's probably more people who need to be doing it in a more authentic and helpful way. And so I am here to encourage everyone who has a heart to help people to become competent enough to have your own newbie, whatever, even if it is on Tuesdays.
I still like sharing my lawful living links on the attorney website, on the Facebook, on their advertising. That's what I've been doing.
Amazing.
That's what I do for entertainment. That's my help.
Is that where Nick came from?
I won't take responsibility for that one, but that's what I do.
Yeah, good question though, Hassan.
I know, right? It's all good. They can get all the invites because we know that they're going through an exorcism and baptism also.
And I even tell them it's free, some of them.
McGarvey says, I want to help everyone sincerely. Naima says, got to get my own receipts first. I hear that.
Yeah,
I
same.
wouldn't do it
That's
for
both of
hate.
them my same statements right there.
Yes, if you guys, even if it's just in a different language, saying the exact same thing or the exact same principles, I should say, because it's not like we own the information.
right?
Sometimes you learn more by helping others first.
Yes.
Or
What you know about that, Yesenia?
Yeah, my friend-in-law is on here right now,
Oh,
actually.
yes. That's amazing.
Yeah, you just get more believers when you're getting results yourself.
We don't want believers though. Believers are the ones that get caught in the sovereign citizen stuff. Believers are the ones who don't know how to properly
No,
question
I mean like
someone.
right here inside my
We
household,
gotta
like
be
they think
knowers.
I'm unrealistic because I'm studying this.
Studying
Oh,
law, how could
listen,
it be
And
unrealistic to
yeah,
listen,
study
Mel.
law?
nothing's happening.
Don't worry
So
about it.
How could
I
it be
think it's
unrealistic
unrealistic.
to study the law? Can somebody tell me when you start reading the Constitution, is that unrealistic? What's unrealistic about the Declaration of
No
Independence?
results.
Oh, no results. Well, what kind of results are you looking for?
Shit, W's.
Well, in what?
Uh, I got like I said, I got a lot of credit card issues and
Did
repos.
they sue you?
They trying.
What do you mean trying? Did they actually file a
I've been
lawsuit
ignoring
against
them.
you? Okay,
No,
why are you ignoring them?
I'm actually working on cases for them that they being sued on too. They haven't sent me served me with anything.
Okay.
They
Well,
tried. I ignored
don't
the
avoid
process
it.
server.
You got to get like Charles and start running to your mailbox. Y'all remember when he used to say that, and then the stuff started coming?
I've been
Wow.
buying time to deal with theirs.
That's
Watch
me
your
now.
mouth. Watch your mouth.
Right, right. You want to be a procedural thrower? LOL. What is a procedural thrower? Is that a misspelling or what? Tell us more about that.
No, I just saw on TikTok somebody posted some stuff about sorry, I got somebody's dog here. Um they were saying about procedural due process. And if you start doing what I've been doing lately on some of these cases is taking the court registry and doing an audit on it on everything that's missing that they failed in their processes.
Absolutely awesome, Melissa.
So,
hmm
there's no return of service that's supposed to be in the record. And so how in the hell can you do a failure to appear?
See
Because
what
you
I'm
never
talking
served me.
about? That's what I'm saying.
Way to go.
Wow.
And then when they're recasting these cases and creating more on top of the same nucleus that they never had jurisdiction in the first place. And I've been going off of some of the other ones that you were doing as far as the framework and the strategy, police powers, all that shit.
Yes.
Way
And
to
then I've been
go.
putting some of your transcripts in there off of YouTube, and then I feed it to the bot.
See?
And that's
That's
how
what
I'm
I
coming up.
just
And
am
I gave,
saying.
yeah, and I just gave you and Hassan, it's a really long document, like I read on Friday, but that's how I'm coming to that because I like, and then the other thing that I've noticed is that in some of the cases, like in Minnesota, for like when they're taking kids and stuff, you have to put it in the lower court before you do the 1983 and address, like, they didn't even give my grandson due process, took him out of the only home he's ever known. So I put that in there, and then I put in there because the mom, and I know some of it's private and it probably shouldn't even be on the record, but at the same time, if it's going to help you win, that's why I'm doing it. So,
Can I
and
say
then I
That
something
just,
is
real
a
quick?
procedural audit is an amazing idea, Mel.
and
Doing
then
procedural
substantive due
audits on
process.
cases
Yeah.
for due process violations, especially since you know what? Our bot called it presumption stacking.
Yeah, and I've had
Well,
that too.
so what they are doing is since they skip the first step based on presumption, they just stack other presumptions. So it's a big pile of nonsense that you
Right.
then have to go back to the beginning to that threshold issue and show since you were missing this step, whether it's step 1 and or step 2, all this other stuff fails.
Right. And the thing that Minnesota does is they use these hearing notices, but that does not qualify for being served. And I did a little bit of digging on that. So they think that by sending you that notice that you're good, you're not. And that's
Exactly.
why, there's got to be two things. That's after the fact. And then when they're
Yes,
backfilling and bootstrapping on these cases,
that's exactly what the bot called it.
Yeah.
Bootstrapping.
Bootstrapping.
yeah,
And shoehorning.
yeah, that too.
Bootstrapping and shoehorning.
Word.
But anyways, I sent you and Hassan my docs again. I'm hoping I know I am so broke right now, and it's not that I don't appreciate you guys, but I was just hoping you could take a look at them when you get time.
You are filled with so much wealth.
So, because I kind of layered it, and that's what it said to do because I got over 6 years, and it said you kind of have to do that because it's went on for so long. So
That just went right over her head.
So anyways, but I just wanted to share some of that because it's seeming to help a lot. I did it with the other guy I'm helping, and oh my God, all of the shit. He went to prison for 2 years, and they had none whatsoever. They did not serve him, and they still have to serve him when they have an attorney. They cannot rely on the attorney or the public defender. They still have to serve him personally.
You mean the initial servicing or just any servicing of any of the
it said what I'm finding is any critical move in the record. So
amazing.
So I don't know if you guys want to see what you find, but I'm kind of impressed with this a little bit because I got to thinking about what Chris used to do. He did audits. They hate that word. And so I thought if I put that in the title or in the caption and then do a audit procedural notice or whatever, something like that. So that's why it's a little bit longer, but I thought, hey, that might work because his docs are usually long too. So
and we don't have to my sister's agreeing that that's a really smart thing to do, Mel. So just wanted you to know that.
And we went over that word yesterday when you were in a session. When you were with a client yesterday, we went over the fact that the Latin term audit comes from it's audire, which means to hear. So it's interesting how we do what we do with our eyes and our hands.
Yes, it's like
you know
audio.
what I mean?
It's like
Exactly.
the base of audio. Audit.
And they hate that word. They absolutely hate that word.
Well, you're in this law space. It wasn't in this law space. That's what it is.
So yeah, I'm kind of excited about it, but I'm still.
Let's get these audits going, Sharon says.
Melissa, you don't lack knowledge. You have lots of it. I can relate to what you've been through, and I think a lot of it for you has just been hard to get around the
it's the trauma brain is what it is. I'm not using
that's
that
what but these lawyers have to accept that whole hearing thing because if they don't, then the issue is that we're dealing with a people that do not and refuse to comprehend that there's scrutiny that has to be done. That's what I'm really thinking is happening with the word audit. It's scrutiny.
Yeah, but I've tried that word.
Yeah, I like the using the term in a way or using the synonym that's going to be most powerful for them. It's like the difference between the fact that you can only the servicers will only acknowledge something that you call a QWR or notice of error. They'll only acknowledge that. Right. So if that's what they'll acknowledge and that's what makes them have to respond, then just call it that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. Use your strategies, use the rules that, especially the ones that say they have to do something if triggered by something else.
Yep. And the other thing that I've done is take the whole court record and download it into a PDF and feed it to the bot for that audit.
That's how you do it. That's how you look, Melissa. I see you being able to assist people in doing that because that is something that people need, and it's not something that the rest of us, I would say, have taken interest in. So because it's what you are actually taking interest in, I think you'll be a powerful assistant with people who need that type of service. And there's plenty of people, especially those in jail, that absolutely need it.
Yeah, well, I gotta get that confidence part going, but I'm good.
Well, once you get, like somebody said in the chat, a couple of wins, okay, that's where the confidence will be built on application and getting the positive results.
And
Yeah.
stop
So I
thinking that
want to
it's
let
not
you
going to
guys
work.
know before we go that we are having class this Saturday. It is our Sue Now What Criminal Edition. And so I'd like to invite anybody that has a criminal story that they are either going through or have recently beaten. Let us know. Send a message to support@freedomfromgovernment.org so that we can schedule your sharing of your story and your case intermittently during the class. So if you've gotten, even if it's not the end of it, but you've gotten a handle on it, or you've recently gotten it dismissed, let us know. Send an email, and we will feature your story in the call. It is especially great if you guys have receipts, like how El Don has gotten his daughter's case handled over there in Michigan. Um, I'm just letting you know now, Don. Expect to be featured, okay? Expect to be featured. If your daughter can be on, that would be awesome. We're willing to give her a scholarship to the class if she's willing to come on and tell her side of the story. But we'll take it just yours, okay? Yes, get the updates ready. If you guys are working on anything that has gotten resolved, that includes you, Sharon, of them just threatening to cite your boy and then backing out when they realize, shit, these are the key lashes. We can't be messing with them. Okay, people who have gotten their warrants
Word.
canceled, like Ashley, who still wanted to fight because she's crazy.
Is this
Okay.
here? Is she here right now? That's funny.
I don't know. Are you here, Ashley? I'm talking crap about you.
It's hilarious.
But we got 4 minutes left, guys. So if anybody has anything to share, if y'all want to pull up the share the link on the affiliates are going to share the link to this Saturday's class in the chat. Carmen says she's declaring it. Okay, Carmen. Carmen, you come a long way, girl. We're excited to hear your eventual win. And I just want to say that because you are kicking ass on the offensive, did you notice how they didn't pursue their criminal thing? They're backing off, slowing down.
Indeed.
They just kind of sit and let me do stuff. And when they don't act, I just keep on the offensive and just keep throwing stuff at them.
Keep punching them
Be
in the
like,
face.
You better act, or I'm going to give you another mandamus.
Let's keep one in mind. I'm gonna try to beat you on them warrant recalls there, Carmen. Before class.
Oh, thank you.
See which one of us can get them first.
Oh yeah, let's get it.
Melissa, did you bring up the audit of procedure? Did you mention who mentioned audit of procedure?
Me.
Court procedure. Okay, so I have a word for that and posted it in the link
Where's that? Oh,
at the bottom.
there's an actual link.
Well, there's not a link, but it is the term used for auditing the court procedures, and it's to hold them accountable. That's from, I believe, the Roman Empire and the Greek Empire.
Huh.
Trading Brigade put it up with the rule.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
I'll check that out.
Look at Trading Brigade giving y'all some wisdom in the chat. Writ of audita querela.
But briefly, it says the applicability, while largely abolished in federal cases, replaced by FRC rule FRCP 60B, it remains theoretically available in limited criminal contexts often to challenge convictions that became invalid due to subsequent legal changes.
Extraordinary and rare. You see, these are the types of things that when we're doing our research, we always come across. Those are the words: extraordinary and rare. These things like declaratory actions, things like the challenge to the attorney's authority. What was the other one that recently came up? Okay, this is what is surrounding some of the things that we're doing here over at Lawful Living. I know you guys hear me talking. I'm typically joking when I say things like I'm just going to raise my prices, but it does make us feel a type of way where we are one of the only communities that's consistently getting results in many different areas. Yet there are other folks who have larger groups that have no receipts at all for anything. Yet they are
but don't do
growing.
that. I'm already struggling to talk to y'all.
You're
Yeah,
not
I was-
struggling. You get us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So just take advantage.
A friend of
I'm
mine
here.
gonna
wanted.
I'm
ask you,
here.
can
I'm
you
here.
please grandfather us old heads into this?
Y'all know y'all won't have to worry about none of that. There's still people paying $150 for the regular yearly update because they were grandfathered in from the beginning. Okay, there are people still at $2 a month on Lawful Living because you guys were grandfathered in. Okay, we're talking about the other folks out here, because even from when we were doing $2 a month and I was only doing donations for my consultations, we were still getting receipts. And we have people like Useless bragging about how 40,000 people have passed through his university, his secured party creditor. We've had people come up on our panel on TikTok lives to say they've attended 3-day events with this motherfucker. And nobody at the events were able to come up and give testimony that anything has worked
I've
for
been to
them.
seminars and everything.
Hello, live
Seminars, webinars,
seminars,
driving to Houston.
driving all over the place.
And that's the purpose of a seminar. Shit, I want to see some testimonials.
Exactly.
They came up on the panel and said a 3-day seminar, 0 testimonies. How y'all like that?
Couldn't see no testimonies. Couldn't get no answers. The questions answered.
Right.
Nothing.
You can't get questioned answers because they think they know what you're saying. They cut you off and then they answer some shit you wasn't even going to ask.
Testimony, admissible evidence.
Right.
Incredible.
We need to take these people to mock court. If y'all want to do mock court, it needs to be on these internet gurus that are out here. Like Useless L, like another one that I met exclusively on TikTok that Hassan nicknamed Forensic Lie. She claims that she offers what Mel just mentioned, which is why I'm even bringing it back up, which is audits of your cases so that they can now help you to draft a winning 42 USC 1983. But guess what? She never has done it. And of course, you don't have to have done everything you're helping people with, but she is giving the impression or attempting to give the impression that she has. She's not being honest. Like, I didn't beat a foreclosure, but you guys on here have heard us help people beat foreclosures. I never beat an eviction, but you guys have heard people on here that we have assisted in beating evictions. As a matter of fact, we're having an update on our evade eviction class. Guys, it's going to be amazing. We're going to include testimony of people that have now been living rent-free for years. Right, Trading?
With an S.
Salute.
Get those boxing gloves out. Get those boxing gloves out, man. Come on.
I'm retired, good brother. I'm retired.
Okay. You and Mike.
You taking it easy on them these days, bro?
Go easy.
I'm trying.
Go easy. Go easy, man.
I'm trying.
Okay,
If
they're
any,
trying
any,
to
any
get
audit, it must be for a like Hassan said, it is to hear. So it must be to look where one was deprived of a meaningful opportunity to be heard in a meaningful manner.
That's what the audits are for.
So
Absolutely.
these folks are saying that they're out here doing an audit. They're trying to give the impression that they have done things that they actually have not. And it's dishonesty by omission and then dishonesty by admission as well. Because the same forensic lie, where when Hassan used to say it, I used to be like, leave my friend alone, leave my friend alone. Then this woman calls me. She calls me to lie to me, guys. 2 Sundays ago, she called and she said she leaned a city. She called and said she leaned a city, guys. Who's impressed by hearing that somebody leaned a city?
He can't do that.
Why not?
The guy that can do that, he passed away. He was 89. He was a lawyer. He's up here in Washington and battled. And
I
nobody.
totally disagree, because when you look up the rules on what it takes to lean a city, it is not a dead process. It is not a process that died with somebody who passed away.
No, it's not.
They have the limited rules there. And in Ohio, it requires, which is where this liar is, it requires that you had a contract to provide labor or services with the city.
Well, you did.
So you had to be somebody who, did some type of project, built a piece of road, filled some potholes, or provided some other contracted service. This liar is trying to say that they leaned the city because they lost their 1983 cases, which they only admitted after I was like, oh, so you leaned the city because you got a judgment? And they said, well, you don't need a judgment. No, I don't have a judgment, and you don't need a judgment. That's when I realized they did not win their 1983 case. And
That's
to
right.
cover their ass, okay, they're now trying to say, well, I didn't win my case, but I was able to lean the city.
It's
Because of
called
what they did, the illegal eviction. So your lawsuit failed, and then now you're lying. You're telling people, I lost my 1983 8 times before I got it right, but you never got it right because it didn't stick. You didn't win, and now you're lying. You're trying to save face by telling people that you leaned the city for the same thing that you lost about in the federal.
Did it wrong way. Wrong way.
Why would you do that to people? These folks are charging. I'm going to tell you why they lie, Sha. She's charging. And I know this might only make sense to the intermediate and the advanced folks on here. She's charging $2,500 to do a removal to federal, which, as you guys know, if you're the defendant, you just pay the difference in the case, the regular federal case fee.
I've already gone to the leaning the city option, and what I got back was that the city didn't own any property. It was all third party rentals.
It don't even matter. It doesn't even matter. If you don't have a contract with the city, you're not leading shit. Does you understand? If you don't have a public contract, it don't matter how much land they owned, if it's in a trust and all that shit. Even if it wasn't, that is not how you lean a city. You have to have a contract with them. And then they have to breach that contract. It don't have nothing to do with whether they have property. Because you cannot lien the property. So this person who's calling me to give me the lie, it's especially not a flex if you don't know that if you didn't have a judgment, you absolutely needed to have a public contract that you're leaning. And because you don't know, you're talking to Malika, the nerd, that's going to get off the phone with you and call the other nerds in the amicus group, like Hassan. It's revenge of the nerds right now, y'all. Absolutely. This is the real revenge of the nerds. I was showing everybody on live yesterday how fast I was trying to eat. so that I could call Hassan and then show everybody else. You call me to lie, and then she hears us talking about her lying on my live, and she comes up on the panel. I invite, she requests to come up on the panel. Of course, you know your girl accepted the request to come up. And what did she do? After explaining how hurt she was coming in the room and she's being talked about, she lies again to tell 70 people on my live that she didn't say she leaned the city. She simply said she knew how to do it and that she knew someone else that had done it. Nah. I know how to lean the city and I know someone else did it. But because you messy and you out here telling my private business, I'm not even going to show you the other part of the lie of how my alleged friend leaned the city. Get the fuck out of here.
That's hilarious.
This is what new people are running into. I filed a 42 USC 1983 and 18 USC 241 to 40. Let me tell you right now, newbies, there is no private right of action under 241 and 242 Title 18. There's no private right of action under Title 18, period.
Bingo.
And if anybody is trying to finesse you about how they prosecuted anybody under Title 18, they are lying.
So what is the service that she provides this forensic?
I'm going to charge you $2,500 to do a removal of your case to federal.
That's it.
Well, I don't know how to do anything else. I can't help you win in the federal. And she doesn't disclose that most cases get remanded, as we have shown on this study. We've shown that most cases get remanded. Who said facts?
Me. It's true.
Yes. See, so imagine somebody charging you $2,500 for a case that's going to be remanded anyway. And they don't
get it
even
remanded
tell you
myself
that.
and do it for free.
I mean, it ain't gonna be free. It's gonna be still the $400, but you up $2,100.
I believe that's why she let all of those people talk all of the stuff that they know up in there.
They don't know shit.
Saying anything just to make it look like she's fixing that stuff what they're talking about.
She's the source.
Yeah.
She's the source that everybody, but she is the source. She's a source of liars because lots of people come up there and
she's just the host of the class.
She's the host of the liars.
Like
that
Pinocchio.
people come up on her live and say a lot of wrong stuff. As long as they co-sign her, she'll co-sign them like 3-card Monty. Some people are not old enough to know what that is.
What's that, Jake? They're always like, yeah, get with forensic, yo. Get with forensic whenever you get off of here. Just be with her. It's like just leading them right in, man. Just like the gates are open.
And if you do that to her and let her lie to them, she'll do that to you too. Go to so and so, my other partner in the 3-card Monty that's finessing y'all. This is what they're doing. This is why we have our Newbie Tuesdays, and this is why you guys, y'all could try to keep me y'all best kept secret, but you probably need to be inviting fresh blood here too.
I invite everybody I can. I ain't got no friends that follow this with me.
I don't either, and I don't care.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I could tell you what happened to me when I leaned the city building. Got tons of mail from real estate developers and everything, making me offers and offers and offers. And I just called bullshit. I didn't want to have nothing to do with it.
Again, there's lots of people getting away with doing stupid shit because the courts are giving them grace. Just because you leaned the building and you got a bunch of mail doesn't mean that you were right or it was lawful or anything. There are only certain circumstances under which you can even do that. And if those circumstances didn't exist, just because it may even have appeared to stick for a little while doesn't confirm that it's legitimate or repeatable or that it should be repeated.
I ain't worried about it.
I don't want to send the wrong crowd this way after little vetting, of course. We can vet them, Tice. You don't have to like be afraid. Bro, if you had a room with hundreds of people worshiping Derek Gonzalez, come on now. Don't be afraid of sharing the truth. Don't start vetting now. We can handle our own when we get riffraff in here. We can handle our own. All those couple hundred of people needs to get regular invitations over here, where we don't just pontificate.
They can do the work over here with you. I'm not
What
doing
about to tort the local IRS office? I don't think you should tort the local IRS office. What's going on? And the bank for putting a levy? You got to read the rules. Did they act? Do you have proof they acted negligently? Because that's what the basis of the tort claim is. We got a baby having the best potatoes of their life. Oh, the best banana of their life. Yes.
Isn't that what people have now? They carry bananas around to protect themselves.
No, my nephew is literally having bananas.
Oh.
Anyway, guys, we are over time, and I have a consultation coming up in 45 minutes. So I'm going to go refresh and relax. Until then, thank you for sharing the Sue Now What criminal edition course, guys. Make sure you sign up. And it's because, as you guys know, with my classes, it's not just for yourself. It's for if you want to learn in a way that you can teach someone else. So until next time, peace and love and courage, my people.
Peace,
love.